Hey you there! Yes you! Do you like sharks? Do you like card games? Well then, maybe Depths TCG is for you. However, does it suck? Should you back it? Well, let's go and find out. What's up guys, it's Kevin here talking about a TCG crowdfund in my new crowdfund TCG series I'm trying out. Fund or no fund? Definitely not a deal or no deal spoof. And yeah, we're just having fun in this series, checking out some card games and seeing if you should back it or not, especially card games that are about to be funded. I was checking out Kickstarter and Instagram and I saw this card game called Depths TCG. They have a little bit of a backstory. They were about to be funded in 2022, halfway there, didn't make it, so this is actually the comeback story for this TCG. They are about halfway being funded, about a little bit over 2 weeks as of making this video, but not funded yet. I'm not too sure if it's gonna make it. Honestly, I checked out this card game because I'm actually a huge fan of sharks and animals, underwater animals. I actually have a bachelor's degree in biology. I used to work in a fish lab for a little bit, or volunteer as a researcher in a fish lab. So I love fish, I love sharks, I love giant squids, all that good stuff. Man, I am a huge sea animal kind of fan. So when I saw this card game, I was like, oh my god, this is the kind of game I would have made, as a little kid, who has all these animal and fish books and stories. So this is awesome. But yeah, let's get into it. So this is a website for Depths TCG, or actually the link tree. They have a website, it's pretty bare bones, I'm not gonna lie to you. And they have the Kickstarter page, their Instagram, they post, frequently here and there. And they have a Discord, which we'll check out later on in the video. But here is the Kickstarter for Depths TCG. So they got $5,600 out of $10,000. So, about 55% of the way funded. 29 backers, not too many backers. Let's check out the story real quick. Depths TCG. It's made for marine life fans, very nice. We have this diverse array of aquatics, so different kinds of animals and fish. I believe there's like 120-ish cards for the first set to come out. Kind of interesting, they have like a type advantage system in this game. It's based around defense, evasion, and assault types. I just kind of find it weird to call like a defense, evasion type a type versus like fire, water, grass, for instance. I usually think of evasion and assault types as more like a strategy. The gameplay, they do explain how to play the game more or less. It's basically just like I kill you, you kill me, attack point system, life point system going on. But what's kind of cool is you only have 5 life in this game, so in theory the game should be pretty quick. Cards are unique and will be crafted with care. I don't know what the heck that means when I hear that line. Does that mean they're using black core for their cards? Does that mean like they're using like USA manufacturer? Does that mean just good quality assurance? I don't know what that means. They do show off, they say they have artists for the game. And they also say later on that there's no AI art. However, they don't showcase any of the artists, like a spotlight in them that I've seen in this Kickstarter. So I do think that's kind of interesting. Yep, it's going to be the next big thing. I hope it's the next big thing because I love animals and, please, that's TCG. Be the next big thing. We have the Wave Runner tier. So we got a, classic, got your deck. 2 decks for $50, kind of steep, not gonna lie. But you do get the 2 decks and a booster box for $120 in this, deep diver tier, which is okay value. It's okay value. And we got the Apex Predator tier, $249. It's kind of pricey, but hey, that's the way these TCGs are these days overall. And hey, $250K, if you hit that milestone, mobile game. I would love to see a mobile game for a game before they even have any gameplay videos of the game on YouTube. That would be interesting. Okay, so yeah, that's basically the whole Kickstarter in a nutshell. The rewards pretty straightforward, I believe. We have an early backer tier, so that's interesting. Oh, Card Game Crypt backing it, very interesting. Well, whenever I see Card Game Crypt backing anything, I feel like the game's gonna die. So that is maybe not a good sign of the backing going on here. And we have our facts, what comes after the Kickstarter. So they do have, allegedly, 2 more sets that are going to come out. I believe it's the Graveyard and the Twilight Zone sets for the game. That's over here. Yeah, Graveyard, and then you got the Twilight Abyss, you know. So I like how they're talking about the different zones of the animals. And you can also make your own card for the game if the game has a big enough backing. Very interesting. Here's the website, pretty bare bones, like I said. And here's the rulebook. We like rulebooks on my channel. The rulebook is my favorite, Google Docs. Very nice. And there's no pictures in Rulebook if you actually like skim it. They don't have any diagrams of the card layouts. They don't have too many examples, especially visual examples of how combat works. I do think that's interesting. They do mention TTS in the Rulebook. However, there's no TTS mod for the game that currently exists. So yeah, I think it's a really bad thing to have an indie card game and you don't have a TTS video showing how to play the game or any physical gameplay of the cards. And the last thing I'll kind of bring up is they do have a small Discord, but they're not very active overall. So yeah, I mean, there's just not much information on the actual game or the cards. They have some card reveals, that's cool. I do like how you can see all the cards for the base set. Okay, so let's talk about feedback for Depths TCG. First of all, should you back it or not, in my opinion? I think right now, maybe back it. If you really, really like animals, like sea animals and sharks like me, it's kind of a niche thing, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's kind of fun. The artwork definitely reminds me of like my childhood, of like reading sea animal books. But I'm very skeptical of the game itself. Whenever I see a TCG who says they have a game, but they don't have like pictures in their rulebook, especially videos of the gameplay, and other like YouTubers or influencers saying they've played the game and they say it's fun, that's a massive red flag for TCG. I think you should have that stuff kind of set already. You should have, hey, this is the game, here's our TTS mod, try it out, you know, we've tested it, we've backed it, all that stuff. Like, I haven't seen a ton of that. I also think it's a red flag how we're not seeing like artist spotlights, you know. If you don't show off your artist, how do I know it's not AI art, right? The problem is, the more simple your art is in general, the more, I guess, childlike it is, the easier you could say it's AI art, or at least a hater could say it's AI art. This is kind of also a weird game in my opinion. If you read the original Kickstarter for the game by Will, you know, I'm sure Will's a nice guy, and you know, I'm sure he is pretty nerdy, and you know, is very passionate about sharks and this project. You know, Will was inspired by sharks, and he's a shark guy. He kind of grew up being associated as the shark guy, being obsessed with sharks. Here's kind of the thing: the game is kind of weird because it doesn't actually go over a lot of facts about sharks or fish, which you would think if a game is covering animals in depth, why wouldn't they have any kind of flavor text or any kind of biographical information about these animals? I think they're missing the educational audience kind of side, the science side of the TCG audience, because a game about sharks should talk a little bit about fun facts about sharks rather than just putting in, you know, some gameplay here and there. And I do like how the gameplay, you know, seems simple. I like not big rule books, you know, I like not a lot of card text on my cards. I don't think the game itself seems super refined as is. There's just not a lot of information to like give people like me who was 50-50 kind of like, let's go all in, let's go back this thing right now. Good art and good passion only goes so far. If I'm not seeing the creator actually play the game and show it off, and I'm not seeing the artist spotlighted much at all, you know, like an interview or like some links of them that, you know, I haven't seen the artist links on their Kickstarter, I could be wrong, that I'm not seeing a lot of legitimacy for like audience confidence in the project. You know, I'm not too confident to back it. For me right now, I would back this thing maybe at the $20 to $50 tier at most, just for the hell of it, because I like sharks and I respect the hell out of the passion. of the project. But am I gonna really back this project as is right now? Probably not. Like, in general, no one should back this project right now as is, unless they're thinking it's just a fun thing to collect and they do have like 50 bucks, 200 bucks to kind of spend on a fun little thing. I think if you're really going the Shark route, like I said before, you should have a lot more key information for the Shark fans. If I'm a Shark fan, I want to know some sick fun facts about sharks. I want the art of the sharks to be shown off more than the gameplay. Like, if we take a look at this Hammerhead card right now, the text is kind of small, there's no information on the hammerheads and why it's unique. It's a game glorifying sharks, but not really like giving more information or other cool stuff about sharks. If you love sharks, hell yeah, like, it looks cool, but I don't think the science side that they could capitalize on is not really capitalized right now. In terms of also the accessibility of the game, the text is a little too small at times. Like, why is the attack text so big, but then the wide vision is so small in terms of actually seeing it? It's gonna be hard to read, you know? I think the graphic design accessibility could use some work, in my opinion. Also outlining the text, you know, white and black border around the text to make it easier to read in the background could be good. So right now, I would say back Depths TCG. If you want like kind of a niche shark thing you like, don't back it too seriously. This is not an investment right now. This is like a for fun project, so you should treat it with for fun intentions. Like I said, I may bag it for the hell of it. You know, I may put 20 bucks for a starter deck or 50 bucks for 2 decks, and maybe I'll do a YouTube video on the gameplay if it funds and comes out. I like the premise of the project. Is this totally unsavable right now? Not really, but we need some work. We need to see like a TTS video. We need to see some gameplay. We gotta see some pictures in the rulebook. We gotta see artist spotlight, all that good stuff. It would be nice to see like who is manufacturing the product, like the factory, and like are the cards actually high quality? You know, just more business game plan. One more piece of advice I will say for the marketing side of this project. You know, just because you had $10,000 backed in the past doesn't mean you're gonna have the same number of backers and funds in the future. That was the past. That was 3 years ago. This is a different time. You know, you had about 130 plus people on the Discord. Were they all super hardcore fans? Probably not. You probably had like maybe a dozen or so plus like more hardcore fans for the game who actually backed the project. Was there a lot of audience polling and surveying to see if people are going to back the project before you did the Kickstarter? I'm not too sure. Is the project gonna be backed? Maybe it's gonna be backed right now. For any future Depths TCG content, I would want to have some kind of marketing analysis or general market analysis to see how many people would back this thing ahead of time. Was there going to be $10,000 worth of funds coming in this Kickstarter pretty, you know, successfully, or at least making the minimum bench line? I do like how Depths TCG did lower their initial crowdfund goal of $20K to $10K. I'm personally a bigger fan of keeping that benchmark for the first Kickstarter of any product very low to the ground, like 10 to 20K if possible, 10K ideally, because you want your project to back. You want the fans who are fans to actually get the product, and you want to keep it pretty, you know, low to the ground, accessible, casual, rather than having like a big 50K kind of benchmark for a new company in this already very skeptical market for TCGs and indie card game content in general. Depths TCG, I hope you succeed. I might back you potentially, and hey, if you wanna, you know, no pressure, if you wanna reach out to me or other content creators to give your game a shot in TTS, or just, you know, give it a shot with some promo cards or demo decks, you know, I'm here, so hit me up. That's all I have to say for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, like, dislike, comment, maybe subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Peace out.